to another episode of Horror Movie Night. This week, we are talking about Hellraiser Bloodline from 1996, as picked by your boy Scott over there, who has been insisting that this movie is a secret masterpiece or something.
Have I?
So, Scott, how about you explain your reasoning for Hellraiser Bloodline being your pick?
Because I like it, because it's fun and silly.
Okay, well,
I do have to call out Scott for something though, because I remember why this movie got picked.
Yeah, and I was wrong.
And they were like, because someone was like, there was two reasons. That reason we were wrong about, but the other one was Matt was saying, me and Matt were talking about how there's no good horror movies based in space. Scott said, wait till Hellraiser Bloodline, which doesn't count because I forgot this movie took place in space 7 times watching it.
So did they when they were writing it.
And like, here's the thing. Hellraiser Bloodline is a movie that is 3 movies in one movie, and I really liked one of those 3 movies.
See, here's the thing. It was I had fun. Like, I don't think it was bad. It was weird because this is easily like the most nostalgic watch on this show for a movie that I've never seen.
Yeah,
you know what I
mean. No, wait, Brian, please expound upon this.
Like, I watched this movie, I was like, man, this brings me back, but it's just like the same. It's just got the same formula and same tropes as every movie. So like, I'm a sucker for any 90s movie that has a evil monster or dog type thing. I love, because they all have the same like POV chase shot.
Yeah,
every single one, and it just brings me back.
But this was your first watch?
Yeah, first watch.
Okay, all right.
So I will say that, I'll join the Scott boat that Bloodline isn't bad. I also won't say that it's a good movie. It's just it's watchable. It's more watchable than pretty much everything that comes after it in the Hellraiser franchise.
Oh yeah,
which
is
not really an award, but
it's a movie.
It's something. But so the movie opens. Basically, all I thought of was Rotar, like immediately, with this robot mixed with hardware.
Oh my god, that part made me laugh 3 different times.
But that's what. But like, as soon as that happened, I was like, I've seen this movie at least twice before this watch, and I'm realizing that I remember nothing. This movie.
I've never saw it, and I'm sitting there with Jade, and just the progression of me, where I'm like, look at this Adam Scott knockoff.
It is Adam
That
Scott.
really looks like Adam Scott. Holy shit, that's Adam Scott.
The weirdest thing about Adam Scott is that he's looked the exact same since 1996.
Yeah.
Side note, it feels like 1996 is like too late for this movie. Like, I don't know why, but this movie feels like it should be like 1993 or 94. Yeah, like
no, because Hell on Earth was 93.
Yeah, I know. That's what I mean. The whole franchise feels... Every movie in this franchise feels like it came out later than it should have. Like, even the first movie being 1987, it's like, really? I could have sworn that was like an 84 movie.
Yeah.
I think it's like the kind of... Well, at least in the original Hellraiser, it's kind of grimy. You know? Like, it looks like... yeah, you're right. It looks like it's like 85. But here's the thing, is that Hell on Earth was...
93, I think.
No,
I think Hellbound was 90.
That's the
1990,
one.
And then
1990, and then Hell on Earth
was 93.
Yeah, and but then here's the thing: is Hellraiser 5, whatever it's called,
it's like 97 or something, right? Like,
and
like
that one feels like actually 95.
Cranking them out. Yeah,
well, that's the one that really feels like it should happen before Bloodline. You know,
that's the one that's like a hard-boiled cop detective.
Yeah,
movie
it's a crime noir, and it's really dumb. I was talking to Joshua Does Cosplay on Instagram last night, and I was asking him about his next costume, and I was like, "It's Pinhead, isn't it?" And he sent me a picture of the costume, and I was like, "So I just finished watching Bloodline, and that movie rules. I mean, it's better than it deserves to be. I wouldn't necessarily pick it if I was like, okay, if somebody said you can only pick one Hellraiser to watch," and he was like, "Yeah, I mean, I think that up until 6 they were okay, but then nothing else after that." And I was like, dude, even 5 I couldn't give a shit about.
Yeah,
but that's just you know, I feel like after Hellbound, Hellraiser movies forget that they're Hellraiser movies, except at the very end. And like, oh
Yeah,
shit, we got Cenobites to use.
yeah. Well, and that's like, and I guess here's my issue with the movie is like the future stuff in outer space is fine. Like, there's great kills, but like I'm just like, does
But
this
they
really
make
need
no
to be in outer
sense.
space?
Mm-mm.
Yeah, I'm like, does this really fucking need to be in outer space? And then
I
like I know you love period pieces, Scott, but
I
like
do.
I don't need a fucking origin story for where the cube came from. Like I really don't. Like let's just the story of the family who built the cube is so much more like that whole storyline in the modern day is the most interesting and entertaining of the three. And like anytime that was happening, I'm like, man, this movie's flying. I'm having a good time. Like, where's this going to go? Are they going to kill this little kid? Like, what's going to happen?
I
And
could
then
have
it's
lived
like outer
without
space stuff.
the wife and kid. Also, that wife is what's her name? Kim Myers, and she's the girlfriend in Nightmare on Elm Street 2.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it's funny
Nice.
because I haven't watched this movie probably since seeing Nightmare 2 for the first time ever, because I didn't watch that one when I was in high school, for whatever reason. And man, it was like, you know, just the light bulb went on. I was like, oh my god, it's Kim Myers. But so in Angelique is the pretty much the main antagonist in this film, because she is the first. I mean, well, she's not the first Cenobite, but there's some internal logic flaws that I really want to delve into in a minute here. But so the story is that the movie starts with the pretty much the latest incarnation of the La Marchand bloodline, and that's why it's called Hellraiser Bloodline. And also, you know what's fucked up is that they got Slayer to write Bloodline, or Slayer wrote Bloodline for God Hates Us All, that came out in 2001 and was used in Dracula 2000. Right? That was on that soundtrack, if I remember correctly.
I don't think it was the song "God Hates Us All," but one of the
No,
songs
it's
from that
Bloodline.
album.
Literally, the song is called
Yeah.
Bloodline. Is like track 4 on God Hates Us All. But if they would have just pushed that one out a little earlier, that would have been a great song for this movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the real tragedy about this movie.
Yeah. It's the only thing that is
nothing
missing.
else. It would have been a flawless film had not
10 out of 10.
Issue.
10 out of fucking 10. Yeah, but so the final bloodline, you know, like the penultimate weirdo in the merchant family is in space in 2127, which is an arbitrary fucking year if you ask me. Like they just put a number out of a hat, pulled a number out of a hat. And but the space CGI, like of any of the outside of the ship, is terrible. It's like Leprechaun 4 bad.
We weren't ready. That's really it. Like we kind of
we weren't prepared for Hellraiser Bloodline.
No, not even. I'm not even gonna shit on Hellraiser Bloodline. Just in general, movies were not ready to be in outer space in the 90s, which is weird because they did great in Star Wars.
I was gonna say,
but
they were great in Star Wars. They were great in Alien. Like the 70s
Event
and
Horizon
80s had it on lock. Yeah.
But here's the thing: we were in a change. We were in a change of special effects and CGI, and we wanted to do that, and we weren't ready for it.
I think we just weren't ready to get cocky about how low the budgets could be on.
Yes, that's really
okay. I'll give you that.
Yeah, unless ILM is doing your fucking space stuff, you're not ready to do any. You're not ready to have Joe Blow in his ramshackle shack somewhere in Southern California to CGI your space station that turns into a gigantic lament configuration cube. All right.
Yeah, they're like, hey, we hired the guy who did the hamster dance website, and he said that he knows how to make things look like they're from outer space.
So I'm gonna blow my load on my double feature already, because when we have the first scene of the robot doing the lament configuration, when it shows its hands in the box, I was like, holy shit, I never realized that they did a Hellraiser episode of Reboot. You remember that? So that's what it looks like. It's like such bad CGI. Like all the skins are just fucking bad. But I mean,
But then that robot fucking explodes.
No,
and
the
I was
best
like,
part about
wow,
that
that's
robot
pretty dope.
exploding. No. What's funny is the robot is confused and surprised, and then it explodes. It does his head too. I was like, what? Boom! Like, how does the robot have sentience enough? The robot isn't what's opening the box. It's basically John Merchant.
Yeah, that's the best part, is that it's not even like he built a robot to solve it. He just built a robot to safely solve it from a distance.
Yeah.
So I have a quote, and I watched this movie yesterday, and yet this quote, I can't remember what it's from. It just says, "Yes, you like it rough."
Oh, no, we'll get there. I have that written down.
Okay.
So before we get
I'm confused
there,
by this.
that's Angelique when she kills Adam Green in the
Gotcha.
90s. But
Adam Scott.
Yeah, sorry, I keep saying Adam Green. Adam Scott. So these space marines show up and they stop John Merchant in 2127 from finishing the box, like the Lament configuration space station. Wow, I just found my space deathcore band name. But they stop him and they are interrogating him. And did you catch the name of the female space marine who's interrogating him?
I caught no one's name.
Her name is Rimmer.
Oh, hey.
Rimmer?
Who names a character Rimmer?
Jesus.
But so then we go back in time to the 1700s, I believe.
This is where Adam Scott pops up.
And the first thing he says is, "Are we having fun yet?"
Yeah. I'm glad he found himself, you know? Like, he was uncomfortable
Has he, though?
in this movie. Yes, he has. He found himself the same way Michael Cera did. And it's just like, okay.
Being the same person every time?
Yeah, I'm just
just being awkward, uncomfortable guy in situations.
Yeah. Not a bad guy. Adam Scott's not a bad guy. He was like fumbling over being a bad guy.
But you know what? He was a great bad guy in Step
Brothers. Yeah. Yeah, no, he was good at that.
So Adam Scott is this acolyte of this Satanist, and they skin a whore, and then they fill her skin with a demon. So she is the first demon in the series summoned from hell, basically. Like, that's fine. But they're like, the number one rule is they'll do whatever you say as long as you don't stand in hell's way. And so things are fine. He uses her as a sex toy, basically, for 200 years. Fast forward. Yeah, lots of crazy, weird sex. And then you come up to the 90s, and the Marchand toy maker Bloodline has, they've succeeded in reproducing for 200 years somehow, even though Angelique is like still alive, just hanging out, getting systematically raped by Adam Scott. So girlfriend from Nightmare on Elm Street made it out alive, married John Merchant. They have the kid from, what do I know that kid from?
I knew Adam Scott.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Well, that little boy has been in other stuff. So in any case, so he has these dreams, like these wet dreams about Angelique, and somehow it like clicks. She's like, "Oh, this 35-year-old man is the Bloodline. I must go and make him make me more boxes." I don't fucking know. So it's pretty tenuous at best. And so she comes to America after very quickly murdering Adam Scott. And that's where she goes, "Yes, you like it rough." And she like rips his face apart. But like, okay, if a man systematically raped you for 200 years, wouldn't you make him suffer more than 90 seconds of face mutilation and then just ripping his heart out?
Look, she's got other shit she's got to get to. She needs more of these demon boxes.
I suppose.
So this is where my next note picks up, because this is where the most what's the word I'm looking for? Help me out here. Be a thesaurus for me. Someone who's easily swindled or tricked.
Oh, that dude's such a mark.
Yeah, like this dude.
Like, what is he gonna get? So this bumbling fucking idiot thinks that this beautiful French woman is just going to bang him if he plays a puzzle.
Yeah. Oh, he's just like so faithful to the flirt. Like, he's just like all right.
Even Matt Kelly is like, "Listen, dude."
Oh, every time I watch any of these movies, as I realized the reason I haven't had sex for as long as I have is I don't trust that
Anyone.
anybody has everyone has ulterior motives to mock me. So like,
and some of them may want to just send you to hell.
Yeah, so like I'd be suspicious of everything.
Maybe this is something to put on your notepad and talk to the therapist about next week.
This is true. Why can't I trust people? So
you trust me. That's the weirdest thing.
So they have this whole thing go down. You know, he gets pulled in. We got to see a lot of really cool, like, there's definitely better Cenobite creations in this movie than in Hellraiser 3. There's no CD demons.
They make more sense.
They make more sense. So
I do like those twin brothers that get turned into. But here's the thing:
they're the cops, right? The cops that
the twin cops.
Which
they're not cops; they're security guards. Let's be real.
That's true. So can we talk about? There's a conversation that they have.
Oh yeah.
That I'm like, I'm genuinely torn if this is. Would this be considered a progressive conversation for 1996 or not?
When they're talking about having sex with a trans woman?
Yeah, and he's like, I'm fine with it. And I'm like, well, that's a unexpected answer for 1996. Yeah. Like, I was
that
really
gave me pause. I was like, Clive Barker, were you actually involved in this? Because I can feel like Clive Barker, as a gay man, would be like, yes, we should insert some sort of, cultural positivity or, some sort of equality here.
Yeah,
but,
like the wording is still there's like some problematic things that are said, but like the end result is like, yeah, she's a lady, and I'm just like, good for you, cop in 1996.
I'll tell you the issue I do have with it, though. Not with that conversation, but with the cops becoming twins. This movie is both a period piece and a futuristic piece.
And a present day piece.
Kind of, yeah, sure. But here's the thing. So we saw them, at least Angelique, right? We saw Angelique created hundreds of years ago. And then we saw the cops present day. And then in the future, it's Angelique and the cops. But what about the good Cenobites that everyone, not the good ones, but like the awesome ones? Like that's part of the reason
the ones that we all love.
Yeah, Hellraiser is like one of my favorite. Like, what's it, like Chatterbox is the one guy?
Yeah, Chatterer and Butterball.
Yeah, like those are fucking awesome. I would have much rather had, like, even though it probably would have been like kind of shitty and lame, but I would have liked an explanation on how they became what they are.
Well, but here's the thing, that I've noticed over the years. So Brian, you remember Uncle Craig had all those amazing Hellraiser figurines.
Yes.
Like he had like the 2-foot statues of all of the original Cenobites. I scour the internet all the time for like cool statues and like little figures to add to my collection. I can tell you that there ain't no like weird combo twin statues or CD demon statues.
Are you serious? There's no CD Cenobite?
No, the only thing that people want to make statues for are the OG original 4.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
so like, that Pinhead and then the singer with her voice box ripped out.
Yes.
Butterball and Chatterer. Are those the first 4?
Those are the 4 that you can find countless toys for. Which also, like, hey, if we're looking to break in money-wise, we need to figure out how to make the collector's action figures for all the other Hellraiser demons, because people like me would pay high money just to have them.
There are dozens of us.
But why wouldn't Angelique be? I forgot about that girl. Why wouldn't they turn Angelique into that?
Yeah, she could have turned into the voice box girl,
and she could have turned Adam Scott, because like.
Into Chatterer,
I think Chatterer would have been good. Like you're running your mouth. You know what I mean? It's like one of those things where it's like, okay, since you love running your mouth so much, bam, you're Chatterbox now.
Yeah.
So okay, here are a couple things. We do get a kind of Chatterer because the dog is actually a Chatterer dog.
Yes.
So I'm wondering if Chatterer fucked up so bad in Hellraiser and Hellbound Hellraiser 2 that they demoted him to a demo dog.
I mean, I feel like a dog is a promotion in life.
Oh yeah.
Not in hell, because he doesn't have any autonomy. He just has to do whatever Pinhead
There's not
wants.
A single fire hydrant or bush, and he's just walking around with a full bladder always.
That's why his teeth are chattering.
But so here's the thing. As I won't say this movie's obscure, it's a Hellraiser movie, but like for how low tier this movie is in the annals of Hellraiser, it blew my mind when I realized that probably the most famous Pinhead quote came out of this movie.
I am pain.
Yeah.
No, when he said, "Do I look like someone who cares what God thinks?"
and
And it's like, I've seen that clip used so much when someone's like, if you're watching a documentary and they're like, oh, and then let's talk about Pinhead. Like, the first thing they're going to cut to is either the I am pain, the fucking
Jesus wept.
blasphemy, the Jesus wept thing. Well, no, that's not
that's
Pinhead.
Frank.
The Jesus thing from part 3 where he puts the nails through his hands. I'm your God now.
Oh my god, my personal favorite visual of Pinhead because it
Yeah.
is so sacrilegious.
Or the do I look like someone who cares what, like, those are the top 3 and they're all from like low rate sequels.
What I mean, I
Like,
thought what's it the it's not the Desire quote, because that's in Slashers or whatever that documentary is where
oh yeah, the rise and fall of slashers
Yeah.
or whatever. Yeah. Yeah, it's, I mean, I just think it's wild that, like, because I forget that most of these movies exist, honestly. Like, when I looked at the box set that I have, I'm like, there's 8 of these fucking things. Like, and that's like at the point that I bought that box set. There's like 3 or 4 more since then.
But none had Doug Bradley in them, so
Yeah, no,
I don't
they
even consider
Doug
watching them.
Bradley. I thought he gave up after 3, but he was in them. I like looked at him like, well, that is Doug Bradley. So I looked it up.
I think he was in all up to 7.
Yeah, he was
right?
up to 2005. Whichever one came out in 2005, I think was his last one.
Is that? Oh, I haven't watched it. That was where I stopped.
Yeah, I think
on a second.
Hell World. Well, there was actually
Uh,
2. There was 2 in 2005. There's
Wait.
Deader.
Wait.
And Hell World.
Yeah, he did Deader in Hellworld.
Is Hellworld also in space?
No, that's the computer one.
Yeah.
That's the one where he haunts a video game.
Oh, yeah. I've seen scenes from it, but I haven't watched it.
Did that come out the same fucking year as Stay Alive, 2005?
Did you guys know that Doug
Yep.
Bradley also played Pumpkinhead? You probably don't, because he played Pumpkinhead in the 2006 Pumpkinhead movie Ashes to Ashes that no one's heard of.
Have you seen it?
No.
Because I know you love Pumpkinhead.
I love the first 2. I tried. Listen, like I really like Hellraiser, and I really liked Pumpkinhead, and the pain that I went through with Texas Chainsaw Massacres is like it took a lot for me to even watch this for the podcast. It's like I want to leave the movies on a high note, so I really don't venture off too much.
So here's something that's weird. Hellraiser Bloodline was the last theatrical release for a Hellraiser movie.
I did know that, yeah.
But here's the weird thing. It had the highest box office revenue of any of the movies.
Because it got a buzz, I feel like, over the years.
Because Hellraiser, the first Hellraiser made about 15,000 in the box office.
Which is peanuts.
Or 15 million, sorry. 15 million.
Oh, wow. That's a lot of fucking money.
So it made 15 million. Part 2 made 20 million. Or, sorry, 12 million. 12 million. So it stepped down to 12 million.
Okay.
Part 3 jumped up to 13 million. And then this one made 17 million. So it made more than the original, but they just stopped releasing them after that. The whole franchise made a box office total of 56 million, which really, when you think about horror franchises, is not a lot of money.
No, it's really not
Yeah.
at all. Especially because the 90s were all. If this was the last theatrical release, this predates people torrenting anything. So
Yeah.
I think it also predates DVDs.
I mean,
so
if you don't count the newest Halloween and Rob Zombie's Halloween H2O is the most profitable in the box office.
Yeah.
It's just,
But that's,
it's just when people.
I mean,
are
you
going
also
to
have to
movies.
look in. We also have to look into inflation
Yeah.
numbers and stuff like that. But like for the time, like that's all within a 10-year period, so there wasn't that much inflation.
Yeah.
I think. Like whatever. It's wild.
we're not economists, so
Yeah.
Yeah, we can't answer any of this. But Scott, you know why you love this movie? Because there's like 4 fucking decapitations.
There's a
in this
lot of
movie.
decapitations.
yeah, there's a lot of head trauma. So I also was. We mentioned we Brian and I made a little aside about at the beginning of the episode about why I was wrong picking this movie. I thought that there were more corsets than there really were.
Yeah,
I was
no
expecting there to
corsets.
be like corsets left and right in all of the 18th century stuff, and it's not really. So I was kind of disappointed by that. So I may have to go watch Perfume
Yeah.
to get all the corsets in. Megan's giving me a thumbs up. She loves that movie.
What a random pull.
It's not. It's got fucking Tootsie in it.
It's a great, no, it's a good movie. It's like 3 hours long. It's a long fucking movie.
You can turn that movie off after the second act because the third act is absurd. I like, it's great until the third act when he can control the world, which is fucking stupid.
I had to laugh because I was working at the video store when that movie got its DVD release, and there was this one girl who loved it. And that was like whenever someone would come in and ask for a recommendation, she would just direct them to Perfume. And I'm like, that's not a movie you could just recommend to anybody. Like,
no, it has there's a very specific subsect of people that would appreciate.
Yeah, like the idea of just like random single mother popping in looking for a movie recommendation for the husband and her. And being like, here, watch this 3-hour period piece that's real fucking weird called Perfume. Have fun.
No, I feel like you should totally troll people. I miss the video store because if I was the person then that I am now, I would be playing jokes on people instead of being honest and genuine, because people would come in for recommendations and I would give them good recommendations. Now I would have like so much fun being like, yeah, watch this with that kind of reaction.
I'll tell you what was really cool was when I was in Vermont, I went to a used bookstore and they had the employee recommendations wall for the books. Like there was a whole bookshelf where each shelf was a different one of the employees' like top 5 recommendations. But in front of each book was also a little placard where they had handwritten their reasoning why you should check out that book, which I thought was like a really like extra touch, because we never had that. We just, here's Matt's row and I popped 5 movies up there. You know what I mean? But like having like a slight little description of like, this is the type of stuff that I'm into. It's got like this element in it, like kind of gives you an idea of like, okay, this person seems like they're into the same stuff as me. I will give this book a shot. Anyway, back to Hellraiser Bloodline. Anything else that you guys want to point out about this movie that's better than I was willing to admit?
So I have 2 things.
All right.
3 things, sorry. There's a line where one of the Space Marines goes, "The fuck planet are you from?" Great line. And then, so I do like, so I want to talk about the twin Cenobites, right? But I need your opinions here. So if Pinhead's whole joy in life, afterlife, I suppose, is to inflict pain and suffering, and he knows your worst fears, their fears are to be separated from each other. So they're codependent. Why would you combine them for eternity?
Yeah.
I feel like you're giving them their wish. I guess it's a twisted wish, but...
And why are so many people afraid of chains with hooks on them? Why is that so many people's biggest fear? I think you're just assuming, Pinhead.
Yeah, this is a pretty shitty thing, and it's like he is so far removed from humanity that he's like, oh yes, my favorite.
You know what's the issue though? As I was thinking about this with movies that jump into outer space, and it's dawning on me now as we're talking about this, is it really makes all the other non-outer space sequels that come after it null and void.
Yeah.
Because you're like, well, the end game is that they have to make it to the future. So, like...
Well, here's the thing is that this... I like that about
Hellraiser, it's fine. But, like, like, because Jason X exists, like, no matter what Jason movie happens, you're like, well, he has to make it to outer space for Jason X. So, like... But
the thing is that it doesn't even matter. Because you know that he's unbreakable. Like, he can't be killed.
We need to get Michael Myers in outer space.
He got burnt up in well, I know they're doing a Halloween 2 already, so I mean, there's no point in that. But
outer space,
fucking outer space. Well, the CGI is pretty bad, like especially when the twin Cenobites pull themselves apart.
Oh yeah, that looks horrendous.
It's pretty dumb. But I do.
It looks like a Capri Sun commercial when someone's head mutates.
Yep. That's exactly right. But then I do really like this line where I think Kim Myers, like the mom goes, "What are you afraid of?" And he goes, "I am so exquisitely empty." That's a really good line.
That is, I feel like the one positive about the shitty Hellraiser sequels is it's one of the only franchises where, if nothing else, they got the villain better because they kind of knew what they were doing with Pinhead, which is just like he's evil. Period. You know, like he's not wisecracking. He's just like this awful evil thing. So you just came up with badass evil quotes for him versus
Yeah.
like, you know, Friday 13th. You kind of lose
He
a
never
little bit.
speaks. Well, but
Yeah,
that's the thing is he never speaks. But then I and we talked about this with our Hell on Earth live episode from a couple years back that I think that Pinhead might be my favorite of the franchise villains because of how eloquent he is.
Yeah,
I mean,
they
Freddy
just kind of
is
lost the. It sucks because he's a great villain who's in a arguably one of the worst franchises.
Yeah.
yeah, I was gonna say I think this is my least favorite franchise, but it's my favorite villain uh, because he gets to have these soliloquies every single time. But the problem is that the value of those soliloquies is in the content, and the content has to be written well because obviously Doug Bradley isn't writing the script, and that's why I think Hell on Earth has the best Pinhead because it really, as many problems as that movie has, when Pinhead's on the screen, it's 10 out of 10.
Yeah, no, that's I would say that's accurate.
Yeah.
Um,
So anyway, I still stand by that this movie gets shit on for no reason, and it is absolutely not of the original four the worst. Like I think that I could watch 1, 2, 3, 4 in one sitting and still be happy.
yeah, it's once 5 starts, you're like, oh no.
Yeah, I watched 5 once in high school, and I have no desire to rewatch it because it's just not my cup of tea.
All right, so speaking of things that are your cup of tea, possibly, what is the double feature that you would force someone to sit through along with Bloodline?
Um, we already talked about a lot of the ones that you could use, and so I made a list, and we'll talk about the other ones again. But I'm gonna go with Sunshine. You remember that movie?
I do
I
remember
don't.
that movie.
It was not a good movie, but I feel like you
It's
get
2/3 of a good movie. It's
yeah.
another one of those ones that really loses itself in the third act.
Although I'm only picking it for the third act because Cillian Murphy goes fucking crazy, and then he stares at the sun too much or whatever it is, and then his skin somebody grabs at him and his skin peels off, right? Like he
Yeah.
gets completely degloved, and I'm like, you know what? Hellraiser Bloodline was missing. Frank in space, and so
Yeah.
you get Cillian Murphy and Sunshine as Frank in space.
All right, so I'm gonna go next because I'm gonna steal one that I thought I had a plan B because I thought for sure this was gonna be Scott's double feature. Uh, I'm going with a movie that has plenty of head trauma and decapitations. It's got some period piece stuff, but its tone is all over the place because people are jumping in and out of different time periods.
Oh,
I'm watching Waxwork, baby.
Oh.
That's wow. I'm surprised that I was like when you said I can't believe it wasn't Scott's pick or Scott's double feature. I'm like, what did I fucking miss? That's some lateral thinking there. I'm proud of you.
All right, Brian, what's your double
I'm
feature?
also going the route of period piece with a decent amount of head trauma, and I'm going to do Sleepy Hollow.
Ooh.
Man, I want to go to your parties. I don't want to watch Sunshine.
If you had picked Waxwork, I would have went with Event Horizon, which you had
So
offhand mentioned.
we mentioned Event Horizon, we mentioned Jason X, and also I would say Aliens
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
kind of like it's got the Space Marines, and it's pretty much I feel like it's more of a straight monster in space, whereas Alien is more of like kind of a slasher in space.
Yeah, like I will stand by that. I think Event Horizon is the best Hellraiser in space.
It is. It absolutely
but-
fucking is. That's a good way to put it.
But so what? How about some positives? I mean, we all seem to walk away from this mostly enjoying our time watching
Yeah.
Bloodline. But what are some positive things that you watched or read or saw or whatever this week? Brian had recommended this pretty hard, and I was traveling all week with my Amazon Fire Stick, so I watched the first season of Happy, which was really fun.
So good.
It was really good. I also finally got to see Rocket Man, which was just a delight. It's everything that Bohemian Rhapsody should have been. So if you liked Bohemian Rhapsody, you'll love Rocket Man. If you were kind of underwhelmed by Bohemian Rhapsody, you're really going to be happy with how Rocket Man went.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's just a good. It's so here's the one thing that I'm glad I knew this going into it, because it would have kind of taken me out of it for a second. The movie is a musical, not in like the we're watching Queen perform, but in the it's telling the story of Elton John from childhood to like the end of the 80s. And whenever either it's the little kid or whatever, whenever they're overwhelmed by something, it cuts to like a full-on musical number with like choreography and visual, like crazy visuals, and it really explores the over-the-top aspects of his personality and like his music and how his music kind of meshes with it. Felt a lot more like Across the Universe than Bohemian Rhapsody.
Ooh.
Yeah, like it's very very cool and surrealistic at times. And also, they don't shy away from the gay or the drugs. They went for the hard R, which
Wait.
is good.
Elton John did drugs?
Elton John was gay?
Elton. I didn't know how. Like, it was funny because I went and saw it with my mom because she really wanted to see it, and like she said seriously the same thing. She's like, I don't ever remember knowing that he was that deep into addiction that he actually was like in the beginning of the movie, he lists like, yeah, I was addicted to cocaine, alcohol, amphetamines, like just this never-ending list of like every addiction that you could have. He was just very into all of it. And then the last thing is that I went to a concert the other night to see. I've posted some of his music on our Facebook page before, but my buddy Word Burglar came to Philadelphia for the first time. He's a nerdcore rapper who primarily raps about sci-fi movies, comic books, and video games. And he has a new podcast, which I might be in conversations with having it be part of the Geekscape network, called Do You Still Like That Movie? And each week he brings on a different guest, and they watch a movie that they loved as kids but still haven't seen in years to decide if it held up or not. I was telling Brian of the 4 episodes, they did What About Bob? The Babysitter's Club, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and Cavern of Courage and Ewok Adventure. So,
Ooh, damn!
yeah.
I got opinions about all those. I'll have to listen.
Yeah, it's pretty cool, and it's he's had some. It's a lot of like people that he's gone on tour with as guests and stuff like that. I'm gonna see if maybe 3 hosts of a podcast that might be on the same network as him in the future have any chance of hopping on with opinions of some movies we grew up with.
Ooh.
But those are all my positives. Also, I would want to talk about either Master of Disguise or Bowfinger. Scott or Brian?
Go in, Scott.
I'll go next. Megan and I finally let ourselves start the 3rd season of Handmaid's Tale. It is grueling as always and goddamn amazing.
Nice.
Cool.
Nice. All right, Brian?
I've been watching Escape from Dannemora. That's been the show I've been watching.
What's that?
It's about these 2 prisoners that escaped from prison with the help of one of the employees at the prison that they both are having sex with.
Wait, so is it real as a?
So it's a true story.
Fiction or not?
It's a true story.
Okay.
And the thing that really got me into it, really got me wanting to see it, was Ben Stiller was on Howard Stern like a week ago talking about it, maybe 2 weeks ago. And he was saying that they approached him with the show. They wanted him to direct it. And he asked them, he was like, well, how much of it's true versus how much of it is false? And they were like, well, we don't really know the whole story as it stands. So right now it's like 50-50. And he turned it down. And then about a month or 2 later, the official police report came out. And once the official police report came out and the facts were there, he said it was like a 700-page like write-up that he sat through and read. He called the writers and was like, if we do this like as accurate as possible, I'm in. And it's starring Benicio del Toro and Patricia Arquette. And they're both just phenomenal. Like it's a really, really good show. I'm enjoying it. 7 episodes. I'm a big fan of miniseries. Get in and get out.
I think that Yeah, 7 to 10 episodes really is better than 22. Like,
Yeah.
it's just hard to tell a story and keep it cool.
Yeah, man. Like Chernobyl was 5
Agreed.
episodes and it was perfect.
And everybody wants a second season.
Yeah. I don't think they know what happened to Chernobyl. It would just be.
Well, isn't that? Have you seen that meme?
Which one?
I'll send it to you. The one's like, we want a second season of Chernobyl, and then it's like people of Chernobyl, and they're like, it's like the shifty eye
Yeah.
bear.
But apparently, a lot of Instagram influencers have been going to Chernobyl to take selfies since the show is such a big hit. Which, in case you didn't know, Chernobyl is still highly, highly radioactive.
I think that you are allowed to go. You're just not supposed to live there.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't know much about how safe or dangerous it is. But I do know on the show Dark Tourist, he went to a radioactive place, and like you still get loaded up even though you're allowed to go. Like with
Yeah,
nasty-
you're not supposed to like. That's what I'm saying. You're not supposed to live there.
They're like just
And if Instagram influencers want to go sicken themselves, that's fine because they're already worthless.
yes,
Yeah.
yeah. No one's going to shed a tear. Sorry.
That seems like a real positive note to wrap up on. Speaking of positivity, there's nothing in this world more positive than a clown. And someone is trying to make us real positive by making us watch some clown bullshit.
Oh
next
man,
week. So
I got words.
So strap in for that, Brian. Thank you so much.
Wait, Matt, you can't say that that's your first watch of that piece of garbage.
No, I own it.
Yeah, so don't stop with this bullshit like White Knight.
But yeah, tune in next week for that. Make sure that you're hitting up our Patreon account, patreon.com/HMN podcast for all the cool bonus features that we have over there. We just dropped our best of episode last week, so thank you for all of you who've stuck around and listened to all the memories. It was our longest best of yet, so that's very exciting. It sounds like we did a good job, I guess. And always remember to check out our check out our Facebook and our social media, all HMN podcast. We will be back next week. Bye. Slayer!
You're listening to the Geekscape Network. You're listening to the Geekscape Network.